Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema each week, watches a couple of things, rates them out of 5, stays at home and watches things on various streaming platforms, rates them out of 5, and then asks ourselves that big existential question of our age. Cinema or sofa? Big screen or big stream? Which one will you spend your hard-earned money at? We will try and help you answer that question.
Let's get ready to rumble!
My name is Tosin, and I'm pretty sure I just said big scream instead of big stream, big screen. But never mind, we shall go on. We shall head off. Joining me today on the Isle of Wight, as always, is Shaun Harris.
Hello.
And joining us from London, our London correspondent is Holly Nesling.
Hello.
Even though Holly is making a really, really big play for being a crap film correspondent. She, after last week in which you spoke about Neil Breen movies, you've been sending us going, oh, I've watched this film, I've watched this film, I've watched this film. And even from the titles, I'm like, I think Holly's on one of those crap film bends. And so much so that I'm thinking that we might need to give you your own section of the show, just called Holly's Horrors, where you talk about, not because they're horror movies, but, they're horror movies, but of a different kind, shall we say.
Sometimes.
Yeah, of a different kind, just because of your enthusiasm for absolute tosh. But having said that, let us talk about this week. What have we seen in the cinema?
Right, well, for me, I went to see He-Man, I Have the Power, because I had to see that, I guess. And then I went to see, because I figured there wasn't a lot else on in the Times work, Scream 2026. And I haven't seen any Screams. I've not seen any Screams.
So you mean Scary Movie?
Scary Movie. Sorry, Toes. Thank you. Yeah, scary movie. It's because Ghostface in the thing.
Yeah. Because it is because a Scary Movie did start off as a parody of Scream, and so because obviously Scream came back all these years later, Scary Movie decided to come back, and I think their whole idea was to make fun of legacy sequels. Mm-hmm. So it's but okay, cool. So we have Masters of the Universe, and we have Scary Movie. Holly, cinema, how about you?
I've seen nothing in the cinema.
Okay, nothing in the cinema. And I have seen Masters of the Universe. I decided life was too short for Scary Movie, and that's why, Shaun, you are the professional around here. You are the hero. You are, in your own words, when you sent us a text about what you've seen, took one for the team. took one for the team and went to see Scary Movie. Okay. Yes, we hail you. We salute you, sir. We salute you. All right, cool. And so let's go backwards then. Okay, Holly, at home, what have you seen?
So many things. The 1980s/early 1990s Troll 1 and 2, or Troll and Troll 2. Also, Killer Sofa and Slacks. The latter two particularly joyous.
Yes. I mean, you hear the titles and you hear Killer Sofa, you hear Slacks. This is Slacks as spelled with SALXX, and which immediately makes me think this film could be called Killer Trousers.
Jeans, technically, in this case.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's called Killer Trousers, and once Holly said, I was like, oh my god, she's done it again. You've been sitting on your sofa with a glass of wine while talking to your friend in the Cayman Islands again, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. We've managed 4 films over the weekend, putting the world to rights and crying.
You know what? I applaud your friendship, but not your film choice.
We're working through the worst films we can find. It is a deliberate exercise to find terrible, terrible films.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So with that, Holly, you have managed to put us in a situation in which we have to review one of those, because if not, you'll just be sat here listening to Shaun and I speak, and I don't think that's right. So you have put us into you pick one of those, and we'll put that on the chopping block.
It's either got to be Slacks or Killer Sofa, and I'm going to go with Killer Sofa this week, and maybe Slacks next week.
Excellent.
Killer Sofa.
It's technically the better film, but
intriguing.
Funnier.
So Killer Sofa for Holly. And also, did you finally get to watch Velocipastor?
Not yet, but I may have to, possibly this evening.
is that on the Cayman list? Is that on the Cayman list? The Cayman
Unfortunately,
Island list.
it's not available in the Caymans, so that's going to be one just for me. Alone, I shall suffer, I think.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right, and now let us go. Right, and Sean, yes, you. What have you seen at home?
Okay, well, there was one, and I watched it a while ago, and I was trying to think because, like Holly, there's so much stuff that you watch, isn't there, that you not really remember. But I watched this animated series called Kevin, a bit in the style of BoJack Horseman and you know, whatever the one was. But yeah, so animated series called Kevin about a cat that his owners sort of split up, and he decides that he's going to go and live in this pet home, you know, for
I've heard about this. I know it's part created by Aubrey Plaza, and I've heard about this. I'll just leave it at that. All right, cool. Yeah. So and let's see. And at home, I know you started seeing Spider Noir.
Yeah.
You started watching Spider Noir, and but you haven't quite finished it. So because we have two things in the cinema, we try and say two things in cinema. We try and put two things up against it from Netflix and Friends and all that kind of stuff, and from streaming platforms. I would like to talk about Spider Noir, if it's all right with you, Shaun.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, we reviewed it. It was your recommendation that got me to watch it.
Yeah.
Did you watch it black and white or color?
I switched between the two, but mostly I stayed in black and white.
That's what I've done. That's exactly what I've done. I did that. I watched one episode in colour, and then I switched the next one to black and white. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so we will find out what we think when we get to review that, and I'll put Kevin up for next week.
Cool.
All right, cool. Good. So let us kick off with cinema, as what we tend to do. As we always kick off with cinema because of our love for the thing, and let us talk about Masters of the Universe. Now, some of you might be listening to some of you might be listening to that title and think, I remember a film. It's like I remember a film in the 1980s with Dolph Lundgren and everything called Masters of the Universe. And yes, you're right. This is based on the He-Man series of toys, Masters of the Universe. So you have He-Man, you have Teela, you have Man-at-Arms, you have all those guys, Skeletor's the bad guy, and you would remember this from early morning 1980s, Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s. That's where He-Man came out and everything like that. And the idea is that he's this prince called Adam. He has this sword of power. He goes, by the power of Greyskull! And he changes into He-Man and beats Skeletor's bum, essentially. And this film, it kicks off with in Eternia, because that's the name of their fantasy land, Eternia. And Eternia is this sort of weird mix of sci-fi and Lord of the Rings. So it looks like Lord of the Rings. They fight with swords and everything like that, but they do have spaceships and they do fly around and all that. Because and they have what are you going to say, Shaun?
Guns.
They have guns. They have swords and guns. They have sword and guns, which it's kind of one of those things that you never really think about when you're watching it as a cartoon. But in live action, you're like kind of like, why would you use the sword? Why don't you just shoot? that kind of thought does come to your mind. But even just that description should tell you that this started life as a toy line. The whole idea of this was Mattel wanted to make toys, and they made the cartoon to sell toys. That's what they did. But it now has a very, very affectionate place in a lot of 80s kids' hearts. Mostly boys. I will hold my hands up and say that it's mostly boys who this has a very affectionate place for. And I'm pretty sure that the guy who directed this, Travis Knight, is one of those who this film has this whole Master of the Universe thing has an affectionate place. So you start off in Eternia. You meet Prince Adam, you meet his father, King Randor, his mom, you meet all the different characters who are there, and then he's a kid, but this whole kingdom is built on being manly and you must fight and you must be a warrior. And Prince Adam is a sensitive soul, shall we say. He probably much likely sit around and draw pictures of butterflies than pick up a sword and fight with people, which in this scene is a problem. Then Skeletor attacks. He gets sent through a portal to Earth, and he gets told, keep a hold of this sword. This sword is going to be your way home. He promptly loses the sword and gets marooned on Earth for 15 years. And so you catch up with him 15 years later, by which time he's played by Nicholas Galitzin, and he's playing Adam Glenn. And he keeps telling everybody that, no, I'm actually a prince from this planet called Eternia. And everybody thinks he's mad. Everybody thinks he's crazy. Like, and the first
he's on a date, isn't he? He's on a date, and he's saying, where you come from? And he's going, yeah, well, you know, all this stuff.
I actually think I think that the way that the film introduces it it's a little bit genius, because you start off with this prologue, and then you find out that the entire prologue you've been watching is, oh no, it's a spoiler to say it, but it's the way they introduce the prologue and everything like that. It's quite fun. And then obviously it turns out that he's right, because he spends all his days, he works in human resources, but he spends all his days looking for his sword that he lost 15 years ago so he can get back home. He finds the sword through reasons, gets back to Eternia, and then it becomes all, now this is the He-Man that we know. He's going to become He-Man. He's going to fight with Skeletor and all that kind of stuff. That's the basic setup you want. I mean, that's the basic setup you need. If you need anything more, then I'm sorry, you're looking at the wrong film. So Shaun, what did you think of Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, I think there was some great moments in this, and on about the bit when he finds his sword. I do like the bit when he's going out the shop and it's quite funny, all the geekies. So yeah.
Anyway,
so this, I mean, bearing in mind I only caught a couple of He-Man. I wasn't like majorly into it, but you know,
I think you might have been a little bit too old.
You
might have been at the age where you were start thinking that you were too cool for that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't really. I mean, I used to watch it on the odd occasions, and I remember on about the nephew. The nephew used to have the toys and things, so you know. Like Little Ram Man and little. So yeah, in fact, he's probably still got them and handed them down to his kids now. He had a whole box of all sorts, like biker mice from Mars and everything.
If he has that, he should have a look online. They could be worth something.
Yeah, no, they are worth something, but he said he's not. He said they're for playing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this started out. But I've got to be honest, I really didn't. To start off with, I didn't like Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms at the start.
Yes.
I was not totally impressed with him to start with.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
To start with, it was a bit like that when he was in Independence Day, where he, you know, we are cancelling the apocalypse or whatever.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. Sorry, I get all confused with all of them.
Thank you. The thing is, I agree with you. There's something about Idris Elba doing an American accent in films that I don't think works, and I don't know what it is. If he does it on TV, like in The Wire, as when he played Stringer Bell in The Wire, I'm like, yeah, cool, great. But whenever it comes up and he's trying to do a really big thing, there's always a little bit where he goes a little bit London. And I'm just kind of like, I was like, there's something about this that isn't working for me. So I agree with you on that. Yeah.
So I didn't like him, but as the sort of movie gets into the third act and that, I became a little bit more, especially when he got the moustache. I really like that. That's from the cartoon. That's what I remember is the tash.
Well, Man-at-Arm is a tash wearer. He has a tash.
Yeah, he's a proper tash. And so this had my moments. What I liked about it, Toes, was it didn't take itself too seriously. That's what
not at all.
It was totally not at all. And it was, and as I say, the end scene always ended in the cartoons. It always ended with a
yes.
And I mean, so forced and stuff. But yeah, so I mean,
didn't it have a moral?
I did. I'm not going to say it was mind blowing or anything like that, but I didn't mind it, and I was quite forgiving of it because it was quite. Because I mean, I could have picked if it had been sort of trying to be quite a serious type of thing, you know, or in my mind it was, but it just wasn't. It was like, you know, because it was good silly fun, wasn't it? It was good silly fun.
It was.
But how about you? What was your feelings?
Well, hang on, Holly was trying to say something. Holly, what were you trying to say?
Wasn't there a moral at the end of every episode as well?
There was a moral at the end of every episode, delivered by a character, usually delivered by Orko. And There might be something at the end of this film. Let's just put it that way. There might be something at the end of this film. So it's like, the film is very knowing. It's very knowing. It's very kind of like, we're making fun of it. Now I don't. Like, this is a film that I wanted it to just be absolute fun and like, just like a joyride and everything. It isn't quite that. It isn't quite that. It isn't quite a joyride. It's very stop-start. There's bits where it's kind of like, okay. Oh, no, now we're gonna. There's bits where you're like, I know it's a kid's cartoon, and I know it's based on a toy, and I know that you're not supposed to be thinking about this thing too hard. But there's a bit where we're gonna go confront Skeletor, and the way they confront Skeletor, I'm like, what the hell was the plan? Was that the
Yeah. I'm with you. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And there was a bit where, and I'm like, even in kids' films, you have to have some logic, and that had no logic connected to it whatsoever. There's there's the way that they've decided to do it, where it's kind of like he comes from Earth and he's like, he's a little bit of a weed and everything like that. The way they tried to do it, there's a certain kind of like, he becomes He-Man and all of a sudden he's like a really experienced fighter. What's going on there? And so there are these little things that you rub up against, and I feel like Skeletor is played by Jared Leto, and I think that Jared Leto, when you can't see his face, is actually a lot more because Skeletor.
You're sounding exactly out. You're sounding exactly what I'm thinking as well. You more or less said that. Yes.
Yeah, I know, because the thing is, because with Jared Leto, because obviously Skeletor, the whole thing is that his head is a skull. He has a skull for a head. So it's played by Jared Leto, but you never see Jared Leto's face. All you ever see is just this thing walking around going, and Skeletor in the cartoons has a very kind of He-Man, I'll get you, He-Man voice. But with this, they decided that that's probably a bit too silly, and they've made him sound like Ian McKellen. And so,
exactly, yeah. In moments, he sounds like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. In moments, Skeletor sounds like Gandalf. It's like, well, evil Lyn, maybe I will do that. and I think that they try and do some things with Skeletor that there's some bits where it's almost like the tone doesn't quite mesh, like with the Skeletor scenes, with some of the other scenes in the film, where there's some bits where they're being overtly comedic. Like he does stuff that he would do in the cartoon, and that he does like a big ha 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 ha, and everybody's waiting around for him to finish, and he's like, when I raise my hand, I'm finished. When I raise my hand, I'm finished. Now get on, go. And it's things like that. Like, you're like, I could see that working if you had a more consistent tone throughout the whole film, and it was a little bit more, and it just didn't quite go. So a lot of the joy I was having from this film was from seeing things in the film that I had seen in cartoons, and I was like, yeah, I get what you're doing there. I know exactly what you're doing there. I know who that person is that you just showed us a shot from behind. I know what that teaser is for at the end of the film, and there is a cameo.
Yeah. Even I got that. Yeah.
yeah.
We know where that's going.
We know exactly where that's going, because even it was something that you mentioned on last week's podcast. So go back and listen to last week's podcast if you want a clue, if you haven't seen the film, or just go see the film and see what it is we're talking about. But also, Shaun, there is a cameo. There's a bit where he's in the gym before he goes to Eternia, and he meets somebody that has a chat, and when the cameo shows up, I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
It was a combination of bursting out laughing and also going, oh, that's nice. So all in all, I don't think it's the greatest film ever. I think that they could have done something better with it. I think, like, for instance, I think if you remember Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, the film that came out 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was excellent. And that is
good.
the way I feel like you take something from the 80s and you give it the big screen treatment now. And I thought that was excellent. And I was hoping
they even had a nod to the series, didn't they, in it?
They had a nod to the TV show. Yeah, they had a nod to the TV show. And I think that was almost textbook the way you do something like this. That's what I was hoping this would be. This isn't quite that. I would have to give it a 3 out of 5. I think it's just a 3 down the middle of the 5. If you don't have a lot of affection for the cartoon, I'm not sure how much you're going to get out of it.
So. And I would totally agree with everything you said, and I would totally agree with the 3 stars. Totally, everything you said was my thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
And they're going to sell a ton load of toys from it as well. I expect all over again. So
well,
maybe.
hopefully. Maybe we'll see. We'll see because because I don't think this is going to be a massive hit. I'll be really shocked if this was a massive hit.
All right, okay.
And it's so maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Can I just ask you something? Was Biker Mice from Mars, was that Mattel stuff, or did that?
I will
come
check.
Yeah,
I will check. I'll tell you what.
I know,
I'll ask you.
My nephew had toys of them as well.
I'll ask you a question while I'm looking that up. So, Shaun, Masters of the Universe, watch in cinema or watch at home?
Oh, cinema, I think. Cinema.
Yes, I would say cinema as well. I was watching it in cinema. Go with a whole bunch of people. Go with a whole bunch of '80s kids, and just have like a oh look, it's Beast Man. Oh,
Lockjaw. Lockjaw. Was it Lockjaw? What's his name?
Trapjaw.
Yeah, that's it.
Because,
I remember that character because the toy has a little button where you go.
Yeah, I'm with you because I kept calling him Lockjaw as well. I kept calling him Lockjaw until they actually say his name in the film. I'm like, oh yeah, that's different. But and they also come up with I think they come up, even the way that they deal with the fact that these people all have stupid names. How the way they come up with the fact of why they all have stupid names. I'm like, not well played. Yeah. That's why. That would explain why you could call somebody Ram Man and have absolutely no irony whatsoever, or call another character Fisto.
Yeah. There's a few jokes there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way: there's on Netflix there is a TV series called The Toys That Made Us.
Right.
And there's one about Masters of the Universe, and they interview the guy who created He-Man, and from the interview that the guy comes out, everything that I'm like, this guy would have been big into the 1980s underground gay New York clubbing scene.
Right. Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, when you put that into that context, I'm like, Ram Man, Fisto. Okay, I see what he was doing.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But anyway, now let's go away from cinema. Let's go on to streaming platforms. We're going to talk Killer Sofa. Holly, you've already told us why.
Just quickly before Killer Sofa. The first Killer Sofa I saw was in a John Pertwee Doctor Who episode, which scared the life out of me, and it was a blow-up sofa, like a leather sofa, and it swallowed up, and then this little tiny creature thing come out. Anyway, sorry.
You know, that's actually a bit evil, because usually when you want to hide away from Doctor Who, you hide behind the sofa. So after watching that episode, there's nowhere to hide. that is evil. Sorry. Okay, Holly, Killer Sofa. You've already told us why you watch this. Tell us how, what platform.
My friend Jen, one of my best friends for 30-something years, lives on Little Cayman. We don't get to see each other as much as we would like, unfortunately. So we've taken to catching up, and we've both had, rough 12 months. So we now catch up in my evenings and her afternoons at a weekend watching terrible films. And the worse the better. Hence last week was Neil Breen. This week we went through 4 frightful films, but the one I'm choosing to speak about today is Killer Sofa. It is set and filmed in Australia, and it has a cast with greater acting abilities than those in a Neil Breen film. The bar is low. It ends with a slightly bizarre scene with some sort of vaguely gothic / occulty setup, and appears to show somebody cutting somebody else's legs off with weird blood spattering that's not very good. And in the background is this slightly sinister looking recliner with buttons that look like eyes. And you look at it and go, oh yes, this sofa is cynical. It's sinister, rather. I mean, it's also probably cynical, but particularly sinister. Shortly afterwards, we move into the intro credits, and there is a woman dancing around slightly weirdly and also being stared at by a very strange man. And it seems there's some sort of music video creativity thing happening, and it is important. We then move on to random people whom we do not know, who go into a strange building to collect this recliner and take it somewhere. as you do. The recliner does some damage to one of their hands, which is obviously terrible, and they stitch it up, and off they take it to its future owner, who happens to be, via a slightly bizarre route with a failed rabbi, who it then turns out is some sort of magic person, who realises there is something terrible about the sofa. They take it off and deliver it with dance women. Is very important. It turns out that who has men often obsessed with her for reasons.
Okay. So for anybody who might not be watching, if you're not watching the video of this on Spotify or on YouTube, you might just be listening to the audio. I am currently shaking my head. I am currently shaking my head because...
And I am doing the same as I describe it. So for reasons, our heroine is attractive to everybody in the entire universe, and the sofa appears, except actually, as it turns out, her boyfriend, who her friend insists is gay, the sofa is also obsessed with her. So anybody who she appears to have an unhealthily sexual relationship with the chair, as you do.
Oh God!
And there are basically it attempts to destroy anybody who is too close to her. It moves around and looks out of windows, as you do. It throws people off balconies, as you do. It steals people's keys, as you do.
Okay, so this is a film in which the title is the plot.
The title is indeed the plot. I mean, technically it is a lounger, but Killer Lounger doesn't have quite the same ring and could have the... So we have our killer sofa, which is incredibly ugly. I need to be clear how ugly it is. It's old brown leather. You would not have it willingly in your home. It looks like it has fleas. If it showed up, you'd say, this is going to the tip. Thank you. I don't want it. It may be diseased. I don't want to catch something from the sofa.
Okay.
Stuff unfolds. Turns out, go on. Ask your important question.
I was going to ask a question. Have you ever seen a film called Rubber?
No, I have not.
Okay, I think you would like that. It's a film about a killer tire. It's essentially, and it sounds like it has, when you talk about like the sofa becoming obsessed with this thing and like tracking this woman down and everything like that, Rubber is a little bit, it sounds like a lot of similarities. But anyway, carry on.
Okay, so what I had missed from the start is that the person who had his legs chopped off, his foot then turns up somewhere for reasons, and the police get involved, and their surnames are Grape and Gravy. And I feel that this is important, but I don't know why. Inspector Grape, Inspector Gravy. And you just, if you were trying to take it seriously, which you shouldn't have been, that's the real cut-off. So Inspector Grape and Inspector Gravy are talking to our heroine, who has a name that I cannot remember because I didn't care.
I feel like that might be some Australian in-joke that we don't get.
It's possible. Not necessarily, though. It might just be that they lack imagination. So things go on, and, Inspector Gravy, who is, suffering a divorce, also becomes quite obsessed with our heroine, and stuff happens, and it ends, and it feels as though they might have been hoping for a sequel.
Okay, cool. I'm telling you that, this whole film and everything like that, everything you told me, I'm just hearing inconsequential, because the film is called Killer Sofa. So,
it does exactly what it says on the tin.
So how many stars would you give it?
Well, this is a difficult one, because I would simultaneously give it a 0 and a 5. So I'm going to go with a 3.75, because I think people should watch it if they want something that is truly enjoyable and ridiculous and will make you cry with laughter. But don't look for substance. Look for joy. So blood.
Essentially, what I'm hearing you say is fun watching experience. I mean, because you said exactly the same thing last week about the Neil Breen films. So you said, and you spoke about having like a difficult 12 months and everything like that. So I'm trying not to be too hard on your choices, on your life choice.
Very poor. We know this. And it's not a surprise.
Yeah. Okay. So you had a difficult 12 months and everything like that. So you went to this film and you said this film it is good because it sort of like gives you like some release from I don't know what's going on in life, but it's not a good film. It's
very, very funny, possibly intentionally, possibly not, but I cried with laughter.
Okay, fine.
Years
Okay, I am
streaming face. So it's an excellent comedy. I'm not quite sure how much of a comedy it's meant to be, but if you think of it as a comedy, it is superb.
Ollie,
If you're
did you see The Room? Did you ever watch a
we
film
are
called The
going to
Room?
be watching that later in the year when Jen is in the country because that is not available in the cinemas.
Sorry, I'm
Deep.
sorry.
But we will
I'm just
it.
sorry. I've just looked up. The. I just typed a killer sofa. I just saw the poster for this thing, and
Yes.
it is. It is okay. Sean, prepare yourself.
Go on
Prepare
then.
yourself for this.
It is.
Oh, wow. Is it? Oh, look at that. It's got eyes. Is it actually like that? Holly?
No, it's more like the picture next to it.
Okay, so it's more like that one.
Oh, what? So he actually talks. Does it talk? Does the sofa talk?
At one point, yes.
Does it?
Okay.
Strange.
All right, so for anybody who's listening to this and wondering what's happening, put in a search for killer sofa into Google, and the first picture that you see will tell you exactly what it is that we're looking at. And
But you see what I mean about it looking like it's probably got fleas.
It is a recliner. It is a recliner, though, isn't it? It's not a sofa.
Probably has,
okay, anyway,
and it's
anyway, I begrudgingly accept your 3.75. Where did you watch it, by the way?
Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime.
Amazon-
I think that may have been Slacks that was Shutter on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Slacks is also worth watching for anybody who. I will review that in the future at some point when I'm allowed to.
Killer Trousers. Okay, so apparently it's a New Zealand film. Sorry, not Australia. Sorry, Australia, for besmirching your good name. It is New Zealand. All right, cool.
It's a failure.
All right, and now we go back to cinema, and we are going to talk scary movie. Now, now when Sean said that he'd watch this film, I was kind of like, my first thought was just kind of like, yes, and Sean, this is why you are the best of us, because Sean loves cinema so much that he would go and watch something that you know was going to be a terrible time at the cinema for him. There's no way in hell Sean was going to like this film, and yet Sean went to watch it. So Sean, I mean, okay, the Scary Movie franchise, as we said earlier, it is a spoof. It started off as a spoof of Scream, and they started adding more and more horror movies in, so it became generally a spoof of horror movies. But it was also the first film that, like, there was a spate of spoof movies that had movie in the title, like Hero movie, Not Another Teen movie, all that kind of stuff, and Epic movie, and
movie.
Scary Movie was the
movie.
yeah. Scary Movie was the first one. Now, all these films that have something movie in the title that are spoofs are renowned for being rubbish. And Scary Movie kind of kicked the whole thing off. I think it was probably the best of the lot, but that's not really saying much, and I think we had diminishing returns. So this coming back is going to be the Wayans brothers, Marlon and... Oh, the other guy, his name starts with a D, I can't remember. Yeah, the Wayans, but there's Marlon. They were in the TV show, The Wayne Brothers, and it's them. It's their creation, and they're coming back and they're bringing this. Sean, was this any good? Because I think plot-wise, it's pointless.
I must tell you the story though first. So the performance I went to was 1:40, so it was like going to be 2:00. So and I went to the guy gave me a ticket. I didn't realise. I didn't even look at the time, and I went in and I thought, cool, blimey, the film started. And I sat down, I thought, oh, it started already. And it was the end of the film. So I went out and I said, I think you give me the wrong ticket for the... He goes, oh, I'm ever so sorry, yeah, that's the 350 one in screen 3. He goes, oh, I'm really sorry, I'll have to change that for you. So, because I just went on spec, so I ended up going into the right screen. So I knew what was going to happen at the end before I watched the film, which was a funny experience.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it makes much of a difference with this film.
No, not at all. Okay, so Scary Movie. Bearing in mind I haven't seen any, but from the poster, I saw the poster. I think it was on the bus, or half a poster on the bus, and it had like Megan on the poster. I don't know what it was called, but Megan and a few other, as well as Ghostface, like the because Happy Valentine's Day, all of those. And I thought, well, this might be quite good because I've suffered a few. That might be, this might be worth a look. But not too many of that Megan was in it for all of 30 seconds.
Well,
but...
yeah, no, it's like a rat-a-tat pit stop of horror movies. So they'll put something in there. There might be something from a Sinister film. There might be something from an Insidious that'll show up for 5 seconds. There's probably something from Get Out that shows up for all of 2 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
there's a lot of sinners in this.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of sinners in this. Yeah, it's like, you know, they turn up at the house and, you know, it goes, oh, can I come in and play? They go, no, you can't, and all that sort of stuff. So there's a few bits like that which are straight out of Sinners. You know, oh, can we come in?
Yeah.
Can we come in? No, you can't. No, you can't. So, and mostly it's based on the Scream ones, I think, because Ghostface turns up generally all the way through it. It's quite crude, I think. It's quite crude, and like there's a lot of mentions of the a lot of N-word use and a lot of it. And, you know, it's very and there's it's really heavy on that with and you know, lots of drug references and stuff and
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
gangstery stuff, you know, gangster type of thing.
Well, yeah, it's Marlon and Shaun Wayans, and that's what they do. That is a lot of the humor is when they're loud. It is foul mouth. It is foul mouth. It is all this kind of stuff. They use the N word a lot. They say the F word a lot, and
there's a little animated sequence in it where he takes some sort of substances, but I think they put that in there sometimes. So yeah.
Well, you think the second you said little animated sequence, I'm sure that would have been somebody on drugs. Like
definitely.
I feel like a lot of the stuff they do is kind of predictable. You know what you're getting when you go to them. Like one of the biggest and probably one of the funniest scenes in the original Scary Movie was where Ghostface shows up to kill some people. And they're all sitting down there like getting high, smoking marijuana and everything. And then they give Ghostface a spliff, and then they start doing that was when the what's up?
Oh right, yes, they do that in this one.
Yeah,
they're playing video games. They go,
they're playing video games. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they do that when talk about killer sofas. Yeah, they're on a sofa doing that, you know, and it's like
there's some of them playing, and then the whole idea is that the you know the Edward Munch scream. Thing on Ghostface, it turns into a smile, and that's like
you're right.
That is
I
like
can see that now. I can see that now. Yeah. Now you say it.
Yeah, and that's like the height of the whole thing. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of drug use, a lot of N-word, a lot of F-word. That's their comedy, and it was a massive hit for some people. Some people really really vibe with it, and I personally never really did. The question,
I must be honest. I found that a bit too. I found that a little bit too much, you know. I found it started to. I was like, oh, come on. So yes, but basically, I can't
just
really
saying the N-word repeatedly is not funny.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and and probably unnecessary some of it. So I mean, you know what you're going to get. I can't really give you the story. It's just a load of, you know, Ghostface. Oh, I suppose the basic story is you've got the old ones in it from the original, and their daughters. Reminds me a bit of the Terminator. Is her daughter's gone away anyway? So.
Yeah,
because the mum plays a bit like Jamie Lee Curtis, and you got the daughter who's, but they're just dumb. They're just dumb teenagers. You know what I mean? It's always the boyfriend. It's always the boyfriend. It's always this. It's always that. It's always, and they make it obvious in some things that, you know, it's like Spider-Man. Oh, how come you always gone when, or Superman? You know, how come you always go when something's happening? You know. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah. So first one I've seen. I'm probably, to be honest with you, won't bother watching any of the others if they're in that vein.
They are totally in that vein.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen a lot more of some of the characters from other. There probably was some in it that I haven't seen, but you know, I mean, I didn't really.
Well, like you would like to have seen the original horror movies that were being spoofed.
Or to have more of that in it. Do you know what I mean? Because basically the Megan scene where like they're just running through a disco, they're running away, and she sort of just does a bit of a dance, and that's it, done. And I'm like, oh, is that it? You know, it's not so
yeah, no. So how many stars would you give this?
I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I'd probably
go with your heart, Shaun.
Okay, I'll go with my heart. I'm going to say 2.25.
2.25 out of 5 for Scary Movie 2026, and that doesn't really surprise me. I still think it could be a hit because the people who like that kind of things will like it. Like I remember, you know, Martin Lawrence. Now, Martin Lawrence is a very acquired cup of tea. And I remember that in Nigeria, we loved Martin Lawrence movies. And used to think they were hilarious. We would watch all of them. Black Knight, Blue Streak, all this kind of stuff. And it's, and then I got to the UK and I saw people were reviewing Martin Lawrence and they were looking down on them. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? It's just supposed to be some fun or everything like that. And so I find myself, maybe I've been here too long, in that position of looking down on the scary movie films. But at the same time, I also know that there's some people who are going to like them, some people who are going to find them hilarious. And for those people, I wish them all the best. Enjoy the film. Right. And now, oh yeah, Shaun, watch it in cinema or wait for it on streaming?
I don't know. If you're invested in the franchise, probably either would do. But I don't know. Maybe cinema, perhaps. I don't know, with a bunch of friends. Or maybe sat at home on the killer sofa or killer recliner with a bunch of friends. Who knows? Have a double bill, eh?
Sorry, I'm just trying to imagine. I'm trying to imagine when you said the words, if you're invested in the franchise. I'm trying to imagine the people who are invested in the scary
well, you know what I mean. Sorry, mate. Perhaps that's people who enjoy.
No.
Yeah.
And I know what you mean. It's just the idea of that. It's kind of blowing my mind a bit. But
I think it was when you said that for people who like this sort of thing, because there must be a market out there for it. You know,
there is. I mean, the first one was a massive hit.
Yeah. Similar to Kumar and Thingy, is it?
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Yeah, the Harold and Kumar series. I think it's definitely in that sort of stoner comedy vein. Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely in that vein.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Some people like it, some people hate it. Right, okay, now we're going to go back to Prime Video and we're going to talk about the final thing that we are viewing this week, and that is Spider Noir, because Shaun has very kindly let me do this. Even though he has only seen 4 of the 8 episodes, and I have seen all 8 of them, Shaun is willing to talk about this. And so you've heard a little bit of us talking about this. This is from the Into the Spider-Verse movie, the first one. We had Spider Noir, and he was voiced by Nicolas Cage. And the whole idea behind him is that this is a version of Spider-Man that is in 1930s New York. He's in 1930s New York. He's kind of like a gumshoe. He's kind of like Bogart. He sort of always has a fedora on, always has a coat on, and everything like that. And so they decided to make this into a live action version. And they've taken Nicolas Cage into the voice, and they've still made him play a character called not Peter Parker, but Ben Reilly. And for those of you who are into your Spider-Man lore, for those of you who know, the history of Spider-Man, the name Ben Reilly will probably be a bit triggering. It'll be a bit triggering. But there's reasons why he's called Ben Reilly, and they go into that in this. And so the idea is that this is pretty much just a film noir. This is like, imagine if Humphrey Bogart was in The Big Sleep or something like that, or imagine like in the kind of films that inspired things like Chinatown. So you have there is corruption with gangsters, with politics, with all that kind of stuff, and in the middle you have this gumshoe Ben Reilly, who just happens to have Spider-Man's powers. So it's like you've taken Spider-Man and you've plunked him into a film noir. This is available in black and white and in color. And as Shaun was saying, I mean, I was switching back and forth in between the 2 colors. And Shaun, for you, what would you say? You said you would watch like 1 episode in black and white, 1 episode in color.
Yeah.
What is your verdict on both of them, on color or black and white?
Do you know, Toes? I think probably I quite like the black and white version. I think it gives it a little bit more atmosphere. For me, and I mean, like, bearing in mind when I was a kid watching movies on TV, it would be like Double Indemnity and Public Enemy and all those sort of type of films. So I think it gave it more I don't know, more
gravitas,
more of the era, I guess.
Well, the truth is, this is something that obviously was filmed to be shown in black and white. And that's the thing. I feel like it's obviously was filmed to be shown in black and white. Nicolas Cage even says it. But the problem was that the streamers were like, young people are not going to watch it if it's in black and white.
Young people do not like black and white.
Which is true. And so they made a color version as well. But I went to the color because every now and then they'll say something and I'll be like, ooh. Or they'll show something and I'll be like, oh, I wonder how that shot works in color. And I'll switch to color to see why that shot works. And I'll watch it for a couple of minutes and I'll be like, oh, no, go back to the black and white, because the black and white is what it's made for. And it is beautiful. It is beautiful in the black and white.
You have
Brendan Gleeson who shows up. Yeah, very stylish. You have Brendan Gleeson, who shows up playing a character called Finn Byrne. He's like this Irish mobster who is kingpin in everything but name. And then they have this idea where you have like classic Spider-Man villains who come in, but they're reimagined for this 1930s world. So like, you know, the Sandman shows up, and what's his name? Tombstone shows up, and Electro shows up, but they all have different names, and the way they've done it, and they link it into World War One and stuff like that, and experiments, and I think this leans into the body horror of it more than, because Shaun, you've only seen 4 episodes, so you haven't gotten to episode 6 yet.
Right.
You haven't got to episode 6 yet. At episode 6, I said that is the episode that explains to you why Nicolas Cage is in this show, because up until episode 4, where you've watched, anybody else could be playing that role.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be intrigued with that. I'm gonna have to get up to that. That's good, really.
Yeah. And but what I'll say is that it leans more to the body horror of the whole thing more than most other Spider-Man things. Like the idea that this guy is not just a human anymore. This guy is part spider because he got bitten by something. The transformation scene where he gets bitten is horrific. It's actually genuinely horrific. It's genuinely horrific. And the sort of things that, like, as what it does to its body is quite bad. And there's a little bit of it where it goes a little bit Frankenstein and just sort of like nods to that era. So I really I liked it. I liked the way they did the thing. Nicolas Cage, there's bits where, you know, we're talking about it where Nicolas Cage, sometimes you're not sure whether he's good or whether he's bad.
Bad, yeah. And he's really good. He's really good at playing that, I think. He's really good at, you know, it's
straddling that whole thing and making you guess.
Yeah, it's like, you know, between he's in that not netherworld, but he's in that sort of bit between, isn't he, where you could go either way, sort of thing.
Shall we say liminal space, because that's the word that everybody's using now because they watch Backrooms.
Oh, right. Yeah. So good one then. Good one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that liminal space in between where you're like, is he not? Because there's a bit, because this has also Lee Jun Lee, who was also, as I said, was in Sinners, played Grace in Sinners, and she plays the sort of femme fatale in this. And there's a bit where I think that. You know, if you've watched film noir, you know that there's usually a private eye who's going around there. You know there's a femme fatale, and you know that the protagonist is going to have a thing with a femme fatale and all that. And so it follows all the beats of a film noir. It follows all the beats of a film noir. So if you've watched the film noir before, there isn't really any, like, story-wise, there isn't much surprise going, because you're like, yep, thought that would happen. For me, the real joy is about how they've taken the Spider-Man thing and they sort of meshed it together with this film noir, like this meeting of superhero and film noir genres.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Some of the other names of some of the other characters, like we know who they are, sort of thing. Is that, do you think, for copyright type thing? So that, because otherwise, because I mean, I'm surprised it's not on Disney thing. You know what I mean?
Well, there's the ownership of Spider-Man is a weird nebulous thing that has lawyers scratching their heads, because Sony owns Spider-Man, and then they've decided that for certain things they will share Spider-Man with Disney. So this is a Sony thing. It's not a Disney thing. No. So Disney can make some animated shows, and then they can show those because Spider-Man. Well, essentially, Fox owns Spider-Man for animated. It's confusing. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah.
It's confusing. It's crazy. And there will be Spider-Man stuff showing up on all sorts of different platforms. Just find it where it is. Enjoy it where it is. This is actually I think this is pretty good. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I do think it's pretty good. I personally would give it a 3.5. And Shaun, I'll see when you finish watching it. We'll see whether you agree with me or not.
Yeah, I should think so. What about as for? Do you reckon you could see this at the cinema?
Well, Spider Noir. No, I don't think so. I think it's very small screen. I mean, the days of film noir because it's not even the scope of it is. Well, I think the problem is that it's made for TV. It's 8 hours long.
Yeah.
You're not going to the cinema for that. So you're not going to the cinema for that. So it's
no. But that sort of type of thing, because I think, like, I mean, you know, if it was a condensed version, if they could do a condensed version, what would you think to that? Because I mean, I really liked the Sin City movies, you know.
Yeah, if you did a condensed 90-minute version of this or something like that, then yeah, totally it would be a cinema thing.
Yeah.
It would be, yeah, as you said, Sin City is a very good touch point because of the
Yeah.
black and white photography, the starkness of it. It's beautiful. The bits where he shows up as a spider, the way he's sort of like his eye patches sort of show up and everything like that.
Yeah.
His, I mean, I obviously because he's a private eye, I love the relationship between him and Robbie Robertson, played by Lamont Morris, and like the relationship between him and his secretary as well, I think is really, really good. And where that ends up, I think it's quite nice. It's quite nice. Yeah. And they've ended it in such a way that this could be the only thing we ever see of it. And I think that if we did, that would be fine. They could make more seasons of it, and I think that could also work because of the way they've done it and because of the way they've.
I mean, just out of interest, for the last, they've left it that way. Have they? That they could be more. They've left it that way.
Let me put it this way: the storyline is complete. The storyline is closed off, so there isn't anything left of going like. There's no sort of like, ooh, come back next time to find out what happens to Tombstone. Where did he disappear off to? There's none of that. There's not, for me, it's nice. It ends, and I like things that end. So, and it does that. So for me, it's a 3.5. So only question we have left to ask is, who do you think has won this week?
I don't know. This is quite an interesting. I think my low scary movie and 3.75 for Holly's Killer Sofa is probably going to be streaming. With your 3.5 as well.
Yeah, it is streaming. It is streaming, and this almost makes me want to go watch Killer Sofa because I feel like there is no world in which that's good. And
with laughter, and you ought to watch Slacks as well because that will also make you sob with laughter.
You see, I feel like there's no world in which this is good, and if it, so yeah. Anyway, so So if I go there and I do. Yeah, essentially at the moment I'm kind of feeling like Holly has made streaming steal this week, but never mind. But anyway, just before we go, sorry, Holly, what are you saying?
I have, and I'm okay with that. I feel like it's great by we always debate whether or not it's quality or
entertainment.
Entertainment, and this is, as I say, quality 1, entertainment 5.
All right, cool.
Read a formal weighting on how you assess quality versus. So maybe we need that.
Oh, that's gonna get way too complicated.
Yes, it is. I'm okay with that.
I'm bad enough with the 3.5s and 3.75s on the.
I am happy to run that in the background. Just
okay.
Give me a formula.
Go ahead. You figure out the formula and let us know. All right, but just before we go,
perhaps we could give bad good. I don't know the worst ratings and the top. So what you would give it, Max, and what would we give it? Anyway, no, that's too complicated.
That's getting majorly complicated. Also,
for secondary information later in the year.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be assessed at the time, but we can then say on balance if you look at quality versus.
Okay. But anyway, one thing I want to say is Karen Rodriguez. Karen Rodriguez is someone who wanted to shout out from Spider Noir. She plays Janet, Nicolas Cage's secretary. Haven't seen her in anything else, but I thought she was really, really good. All right, cool. And now we're just going to talk about a little bit of feedback because there's some films that somebody went and saw, and then after they reviewed it, someone else went and saw that. And there was Tuna, which I think Shaun and Sharon saw, rated it, and then Holly and I caught up with Tuna later. So, Holly, what did you think of Tuna?
I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it, particularly as I watched it straight after Backrooms with 10 minutes twixt and tween, and so it needs context for that. But I found it hugely enjoyable. Is it going to change the world? God, I hope not. But it was a really, really good watch. It was a better watch even than Killer Sofa. And I really enjoyed watching Killer Sofa. That's a close one, but...
Yeah, well, it's one of those things with Tuna because I agree with you, and I agree with everything Shaun and Sharon said about the film. I think it's a very good film. Yes. And it's one of those films where, like, is it going to change the world? I kind of hope it does, because I kind of hope that it's a big enough hit that they make more films like this. Like, this sort of like, this sort of like well acted small sort of chamber piece that is all about there's about the characters and it's about some of the tension and all that kind of stuff, and it's like a heist movie, but I because I feel like it's just really really good. I think Leo Woodall's really good in it. I think I think Leo Woodall's really good in it. Havana Rose Liu, Havana Rose Liu is really good in it, and it's so great to see Dustin Hoffman on screen again. It's one of those things where you're like, it was so good to see him on screen again. I was like, oh my god, they should make more films like this and put them in cinemas as opposed to, because I find with them being on Netflix and stuff, but the problem is when they put them on Netflix, they are very, very quickly buried. I feel like movies are very quickly buried on streaming sites, and if you put them in cinema, give them a little bit of life so that when they get back to streaming, like the number of films that have been released on Disney Plus this year alone, that I've been like, oh, should go watch that, and I've totally forgotten about them. It's crazy.
I would add that because sound is so important to it, most people don't have really good sound systems at home.
Well,
Modern TVs are way better than 30 years ago, 20 years ago, a decade ago. As I think I have a 9-year-old TV.
Do you think there was any nods to Baby Driver in it?
It definitely had a touch of commonality to it. I don't
think it's a direct nod.
No.
I don't think it's a direct nod, but I feel like there are some unintentional similarities. Yeah, I think there's some intentional similarities to the central relationship, to the way he is, to going and being in a diner, to having like headphones on almost the whole time. Yeah. There are some, but I don't think it's intentional.
You could probably add a touch to Drive as well, along those sort of lines. It's not the same, but
well, possibly. I mean, because to be honest with you, all those films are heist films. Drive, Tuna, Baby Driver, they all have heist elements to them, and I feel like once you put those in there, it's kind of like there's always this kind of like, oh, this is the life you're in, and this is the life you could have, and that the life you could have is usually represented by a relationship with a woman. That kind of stuff. So it's
I did like the criminals were like proper criminals in it, weren't they? I think with their sort of niceties and then the nastities.
As in you mean? Yeah, sorry. Carry on, Holly.
I was just going to say it's also quite low on the Bechdel scale, if we're, being frank. But that is true.
It is.
Most heist movies, things like Ocean's 8 aside, which I absolutely bloody love.
It is a lot of men in rooms talking about other men.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. It is a lot of men in rooms talking about other men.
But it is the nature of the film.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're going to do that, at least make a good film, and they did.
Yes, exactly.
They did.
So I will forgive them that. Because it's something we don't talk about often enough, because representation in films is also important. I know it's not the all and end all, but it does matter.
Yeah. That, and also when Jean Reno shows up, I'm like, oh my god, him! This film just had like a couple of, oh my, I haven't seen you in ages. What have you been doing, Jean Reno? Why are you walking like that? Oh, you're old now. I forgot. It's like,
it happens to actors too. They're not
yes,
just.
I know. All right, cool. Anyway, that is it from us this week. And I just wanted to say thank you for anybody who's got in touch with us, who's watched anything that we put up on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, anybody who's said anything, or on Facebook as well. We're still on there. Please do get in touch. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your thoughts are. Have you watched Killer Sofa? And do you think, oh my God, that Holly is totally right. Oh my God, Holly was even being harsh with that film. That film is more than 4 stars. Let us know.
I also ask you to please refer to last week's Neil Breen assessment, because I want to know what people think about Neil Breen films, because IMDb gives them ratings from 1 to 10.
Holly, you like going online? You like going online and fighting with people? I'm pretty sure that there's a subreddit about Neil Breen. Go, fly, my pretty. Go find it. All right, until next week, until we go watch some other things. God, have no idea what's up. It's a goodbye from me.
Yep. I was just going to say I'll be in the States next week, but I might try and see. I mean, I was looking at what's on at the Sphere, but it's a Wizard of Oz experience, so I don't know. I'm not really a major
the Sphere.
fan.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Shaun is off to Las Vegas. That's where he will be next week. He'll be in Las Vegas, and he's also going to go to the World Cup. So Shaun's going to go. Yeah, Shaun's going to go to the World Cup. So
assuming they let him in and he doesn't have last-minute visa complications.
yeah, I know.
I've got my Esther. I got my Esther. It says "Welcome to the United States." So
I wouldn't guarantee anything with that these days.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
because Shaun, you might go there and they might be like, hang on a second, have you associated with any Nigerians lately?
Yeah.
You'll have to be, there's this guy, this friend of mine who keeps saying, like, unflattering things about Trump, and then that could be it. And then I'll
there could be that. But yeah, I mean, I was stopped at immigration once, but that's a long story. So they did stop.
I want this long story at some point.
You will get it. You will get it. So, but the thing is, I've always been forever really. I've always been America. I love.
Yep.
I love the USA. So I could tell them, what's the state capital of, Missouri or whatever. I could tell them. Do you know what I mean? So I can say, look, and I think, well, I mean, we'll have to see. But if I get stopped, I shall say that I've associated with my friend Holly. From you'll have to have words with her.
Yeah. I think to be honest with you, the way things are in America, saying you're associated with Holly is more likely to get you in than saying you're associated with.
Yeah, I think so. It will be interesting. It will be interesting. So
if I start checking my social media, I'm afraid I'm not sure that that's quite as clear as you think it is.
Shaun, delete all your social media and just say you know none of you do not know us. You do not know.
Oh yeah.
Please cut this from the final video, Tosin, but make sure, Shaun.
Right, okay, I will. I'll try and do that.
Okay. Now, I've been trying to wrap us up for a while now, so I'm going to say a goodbye from me.
Yeah, okay, goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to go find that bit now and cut it out.